So my introduction always says Pooja Bhatt, actor, filmmaker, activist. But I would like to put right on top there Pooja Bhatt, recovering alcoholic addict. Let me begin to say hi, I'm Pooja Bhatt and I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober for 5 years and 3 months and I'm damn proud of that. Like my father said, and he's a tough act to follow, 34 years sober, wow. I'm still in my infancy in more ways than one. But yes, my introduction came from a film called Daddy, and I was happy when before we came on the dais and we were talking about it. I'm glad that it still touches people so many years later, because I think it was based on truth. Like my father explained how the climax was rewritten because of what he lived. The irony was that I played a character, a girl who weans her father of alcohol, and I found myself at the age of 46. I was 17 when I did Daddy. I found myself in the same position. I was the alcoholic and I needed to be weaned of alcohol. I was aware that as a child of an alcoholic, I was 4 times more susceptible to becoming one myself. I have an eclectic mix of friends. Some are teetotalers, some are addicts, some are junkies. It's an interesting combination. But I always thought that, this is not going to happen to me. I drank how I lived, openly and copiously, and I just thought that I'm on top of things. I'm in charge of my drinking issue. I'm not that addict that other people are. And the intervention came at a point in my life where I wasn't really looking for one, perhaps. And my father never asked me to stop drinking. He always believed that who is he to tell me or to preach to me what to do when he's done something himself. So people asked him to kind of some way influence me to kind of get a hold of my drinking. And we were having a conversation on the phone via SMS, and he signed off with saying, "I love you, kid." And I said, "I love you too, Pops." And I added, I said, "And actually you're the only thing in my universe that's truly worth loving." And the line that came after that changed my life. Because it was not the words, it was what I read in them. And it said, if you love me, then love yourself. Because I live in you. And I'm sorry I'm getting emotional as always, because that's again a problem that I'm born with. But it was the spaces in between those words when I realized that if he lives in me, I have to be the best me. And how do I become the best me? By stopping to drink. What did I do that night? I went out and drank 3/4 of a bottle of Lafroig. Came home at 5:30 in the morning, tweeted perfectly. Nobody could tell whether I was falling asleep or waking up. I was a functional alcoholic. An absolutely functional alcoholic. I could drink. I had the privilege of being invited to a Navy event, and I sat there, looked at a room full of sailors, cadets to the highest brass, and I could say, you know what, I could drink all you sailors under the table, and I really could. He hasn't had that privilege. And I went to work and I made movies, and like he said, I was functional. I was paying the bills, I was supporting a husband, I was supporting a whole army of people, and nobody questioned me. But that night, I decided to put my phone on silent. It was Christmas Eve, and I sat with myself. And I heard Silent Night wafting in from the church next door. Sat with my 4 cats and woke up on Christmas Day, a day I always associated with revelry and champagne and wine. And I felt like I conquered Mount Everest. Just being sober that one day. And then one day became 2 days and became 3 days. And I just felt that my feet were getting stronger. I felt like I loved myself more. But then I realized that it was more difficult for me to stay sober in that sense, but I had to make more excuses for not drinking than I ever had to make for drinking. We live in times where social events, work meetings, weddings, anniversaries, you celebrate something, you pop a bottle of champagne. You are miserable, you have a drink to relax. And I was an awful reminder to a lot of people that they had a problem that they were unwilling to address. So yes, I had the privilege of a father at home who set it off in me, allowed me to accept the grace by that one line that he sent me, but I also had relatives. I also had a parent who resented me for acknowledging that I had a problem. Because I was a reminder that they had a problem themselves and didn't want to face up to it. So you want to find out who your best friends are, get sober. You know. And at a time when I had people telling me, if you love me, you'll have a drink. It's my anniversary, have a drink. Come on, I just had a baby, have a drink. Come on, you can crack it. You've been sober for 6 months, have a drink. I called up a place called Deepak Wines one day. I was one of their best customers. It's in Pali Hill, by the way. If anyone doesn't have an alcohol problem, call them. And a friend of mine had come over, and I don't keep alcohol, but I'm happy to serve it to you. And I called them, and the guy picked up the phone, and I said, hello. He said, हाँ ma'am. So I said, हाँ, red wine है. So he said, किसको चाहिए? तो ऐसे मेरे दोस्त आ रहे हैं यार, रेड वाइन है, मैं नहीं पी रही हूँ, मैंने शराब छोड़ दी. एंड ही सेड, हाँ मैंने पढ़ा था पेपर में कि आपने छोड़ दी, और जब ये आपका फ़ोन आया, मैंने आपकी आवाज़ सुनी तो मेरा दिल घबरा गया. And I was so moved by that. So I said, the kindness of strangers, a man whose livelihood depends on selling me alcohol, and I was one of his best customers. But he didn't want me to stop drinking. And they were my very own who wished that I would fall, wished that I would stumble, wished that I would kind of just take that bit so they could say, see, we knew it wouldn't last forever. But I think what I did, and I was born again with that affliction, but I was born with that switch where I said no, and then I stayed on course. I made the world my AA class. I felt, and I often asked him, I said, if daddy was made from the female perspective, would society give a woman the opportunity or the privilege of leaving her child home because she's an alcoholic and coming back after 17 years to claim her baby? Society would not give us that opportunity. So I think that women drink in private and we don't dare acknowledge our flaws, because even alcoholism ek mard ki jaagir hai. Recovery is a male privilege. Talking about your weaknesses, your scars, your frailties is a male privilege in India. And I thought that I owed it to people to tell them that, you know what, if this could happen to me, it's going to happen to you. But if I could recover, you can too. And I just felt that we need to end the stigma. The pandemic was devastating for all of us. Suicide, mental health, addiction was on a peak. And yet we lived in a country and a government that criminalized addicts, criminalized any sort of addictive behavior, took the discourse on mental health back into the boondocks with Sushant Singh Rajput's suicide. The unfortunate tragic event that happened became into a media fracas and circus, and took the whole discourse on mental health and addiction back into the dark ages. And I think that a society that does not acknowledge that, unfortunately, when a society is broken, the reason that governments can't win the war on drugs is because drugs work. That bottle of alcohol would give me more respite than my broken marriage, than all the men I had met, or the career highs or lows. The truth is that the alcohol delivered, people did not, society did not. So I blotted myself out in it. So I just feel that we need to be able to share each other's frailties more, to be able to celebrate them. I'm often told on Twitter, what do you know, you're an alcoholic? And I'm like a recovering alcoholic and proud of it. And I choose to belong to those people, that group of people who will hold my frailties to light. When you talk about the dawn of new hope, I am not the darkness I have endured. I am the light that I refuse to surrender. And I'm happy to be part of this, honored to be able to come and add my little light, my little spark to this new dawn, because I feel that addiction is not a moral weakness. It's not, you're not a criminal if you're an addict. Why should rehabilitation and why should, weaning off alcohol or any substance seem like a prison sentence? So I think when you have a facility like this, a center like this, it's so beautiful to be able to be with nature. It brings dignity back to that process of healing. And don't we just want that? Is human dignity. When we are most frail, when we are most broken, to have somebody look at us as human and say, why does it hurt so much? Not why do you drink? Where does it hurt? Can I take that pain away? And I think this space allows that. So I think that I'm just really glad this is happening, and I just think that we owe each other this. We owe each other more such facilities. I hope you all grow from this. I hope this is not only one center. And I just feel end the stigma, talk more, share more, air your grief. Internal bleeding is far more dangerous, you know, and you just need to be able to bleed. You need to be able to kind of share. Because if there's one person out there who can look at your journey and say that, you know what, if she could do it, I can too, then I think it's a life worth lived. So, thank you. Moving on to not surrendering the darkness and to just being this blaze and healing and sharing and recovering and touching more lives to be able to pass that message on. So thank you.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.